I think Justin Trudeau is Castro's son. Why is this conspiracy theory reported on it? Anyone who believes it must be truly nuts. Conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA and used.
We had a little conspiracy theory talk down there.
We
you were
did.
Talking about Trudeau and Castro, and let's go into that before we get into the weeds here.
We'll jump right into the crazy shit. All right. So, I mean, I'll put my biases right out there. I think Justin Trudeau is Castro's son. But you can almost set that aside because that's not the issue I really care about. Like, is it really Castro's fault? Is it really Trudeau's fault if he's Castro's son? Like, I don't believe in the sins of the father, right? I mean, I don't think he really should necessarily have to live his life burdened by that if it was true. Like, I can understand why someone would want to hide that. And like, that's one issue. I'll set that aside. The real question has always been for me, why is this conspiracy theory reported on it the way that it was? And we were talking about this. Like, let's say that it's not true. Okay, fine. But if you go and you look at any of the press coverage of this conspiracy theory, they make you believe through their reporting that anyone who believes it must be truly nuts. They're like digging deep on this conspiracy theory. And then what follows is the most surface level thing that takes every official communication at state value and doesn't even look at the evidence that conspiracy theorists are actually analyzing. You know, they'll say, well, you know, it's very clear. The records are clear. Trudeau's mother didn't even visit Cuba until 4 years after he was born. It's like, but that's not the conspiracy. The conspiracy theory is that in the flight logs, that one trip that was logged as Caribbean Island and doesn't have a country name, unlike every single other thing in the log, that was Cuba. The conspiracy theory is that maybe it was when she went to his house in France. Like that's the conspiracy, and they literally don't mention it. And it makes me wonder, why are they going to such great lengths to make this seem not just that, like, because you can analyze those and say, well, actually, here's why, and you know, it was probably filled out by the FBO, and they just didn't know where it had been, and like there are reasonable ways to go after it, but the way they've gone after it is to pretend that you're insane if you believe this conspiracy theory, and I think. That really gets back to...
Isn't that just about every conspiracy theory?
I mean, it's certainly you know where the phrase comes from, right?
Conspiracy theory.
Well, the term conspiracy theory itself and conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA and used and pushed through their media plants to discredit anybody who questioned the results of the original JFK investigation. And again, it gets to this thing, I set aside whether or not there was a second shooter, whether there was anyone on the grassy knoll. Let's say that the official story really is accurate. It's pretty extraordinary that conspiracy theorists are themselves literally terms born of a government conspiracy. It makes you wonder. People say, well, sure, the CIA had 30 media assets back then, including, you know, national news anchors, but I mean, that's not how it is today.
Yeah, right.
Is it? Is it?
Right.
But yeah, that's why I like the Trudeau theory. And you know, there's other ones like we talked about, the Kamala Harris DNC pipe bomb, and like
I haven't followed that much.
You've got to look into this one because, and I'm really stoked that we got Trump in office and that we have people coming into the FBI who are going to be able to dig into this. But you know, the official story, according to the government, which is that there was a live, active, and dangerous pipe bomb planted by extremists outside of DNC headquarters on January 6th, that Kamala Harris passed within just several feet of that bomb, and that they managed to save her, defuse it, and then destroy it. But there's so many problems with this story. For example, you'll remember that originally Kamala Harris, through her counsel, testified that she wasn't even at DNC headquarters on January 6th. You'll also see in the video footage that's captured of the pipe bomb that after it was called in and after Secret Service was on site, you have Secret Service and Capitol Police just standing around the bomb with their thumbs in their pockets, talking to each other. At one point, the Capitol Police walk to their car and eat their lunch. A group of children walks by. They don't block off the street. They don't be like, hey, don't walk by that pipe bomb right there. The whole thing it reeks. It couldn't possibly be what they say happened. And then this gets to kind of the second layer. Okay, again, ignore whether it was planted by the feds or planted by somebody else or planted by extremists, or maybe they found out it was planted by some foreign government agent that's a government. it's hard to pick exactly which conspiracy you want to believe in. But there's a simple question. Why has Kamala Harris never talked about it even one time? She has so much to say about January 6th, so much to say about people who were just protesting at the Capitol, nothing to say about the feds who were planted in, in that whole op. But like, why focus on things like the people who were protesting in front of the Capitol building when you could just say, oh yeah, they literally tried to kill me. Like right-wing extremists planted bombs outside of my party headquarters and got within 5 feet of killing me. Like, wouldn't you say that? Like, imagine if that happened to Trump. Trump would be milking it for all it's worth. And I love the guy. But I mean, he'd say, and they almost got me. Maybe it wasn't 5 feet. People say it's 5 feet. I think it was 2 feet. Maybe I looked at it. Maybe I looked at it and said, I think that's a bomb. And maybe I'm the one who caught. He would be talking about this. And the fact it's not talking about it, like, someone has realized that it's not a good idea to talk about whatever happened because it's probably not what they told the public. And so to me, this is like one of the most interesting conspiracy theories because it's very rare for them to touch people at Kamala's level, right? There's lots of conspiracies about like what an ATF unit does or what some group of State Department goons did. It's very, very rare that the Vice President of the United States has their proximity and seal of approval on the actions of the day.
Yeah, that's a damn good point.
Yeah, you've got to look into this and watch the video. I think like your watchers would probably love to see. Like, you could just ask yourself, like, wait a sec, if they know it's a live pipe bomb, like you're watching the video, like, why are they doing what I'm watching them doing? This only makes sense if it's a bizarre conspiracy.
I can't wait till everything comes out on all this stuff,
I'm so concerned that it's going to be like the JFK files. There's going to be 2 missing boxes, and they're going to say, it's all...
I think a lot of people are worried that the shredders worked overtime before they got in, and the digital shredders. And all.
You ever been involved in litigation?
No.
So one of the things that's interesting, particularly with criminal, I've been through... whenever you make money, people come after you. They come out of the woodwork and they sue you for, oh, you copied my idea. Oh, you're infringing on my patent in Germany. I've won all of the cases that mattered in the end or got them thrown out by the judge. But one of the things that I had to learn over the years, and by the way, I've been to a verdict in federal court twice. So, I've unfortunately I've become pretty well acquainted with the rules. If you destroy evidence, the way that the court interprets it is in the least favorable light. They basically assume that whatever was destroyed is as bad as it could possibly be. Otherwise, there's an incentive to destroy. Like if you assume, oh, it's not the worst possible thing. What was destroyed, maybe it was only halfway there, and that's how we're going to weight this.
Yeah, unless it's the government destroying the evidence.
And that's one of those, like, I wish that they would look at it that way and say, no, when a box of evidence is missing on something, and it's the government, and they were committing these actions.
It just so happens to be the JFK.
You should assume the worst. I'm not even saying that we should assume the worst as people. I'm saying the criminal justice system should assume the worst because otherwise they're going to keep doing this. Like you need to say, no, the box of missing papers does not get you out of hot shit. The box of missing papers is the indictment. It is the thing that you go to prison for life for. When you lose the files on the JFK investigation, like that is way more important to the national fabric and unity of America and people's trust in government than any simple crime ever could be. That cover up is so much worse than anything that people go to prison for life for every day.
You think they're going to do it?
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.